Today is Monday, July 6, 2020. Out here in my backyard. There's a deer right over my shoulder. I don't know if you can see him. It's okay, darling. You're okay. Heard him munching back there. Sitting here, real still and quiet, kind of meditating, trying to get myself centered before I started the video, and heard him sneak up on me. And felt like maybe it was a signal, time to start the video. Let's get going. Today's day 14 of the quarantine for traveling outside of the Canadian border and back in. They've been told me I was mandatory 14 days in my house, and just use the time to go inward and really hibernate, and it's been a real gift. Can't complain. And at the end of 14 days of nesting and working on projects and birthing lots of beautiful things, to go back into the hustle and bustle of the world feels like a disturbance on my reality. Gotta get my nerve up, go mix back in with everybody. But it's been a really sweet time for Becky and I, and wow, we've done so much. We've birthed so many projects in these last few days. It's been nonstop. It's been a lot of fun, and I've gotten my new offering out for Wu Wei Brotherhood Online. We finished up our final touches on Eremito in Umbria, Italy. And seeing the real potential of shifting my own realities of how I'm earning money in this life to move it into working with people directly. And I guess the question was coming up for me today, as it felt important to address, is like, why? Why host men's circles? Why host a retreat? Why do any of this? Yeah. And I guess it comes down to meaning for me, like meaning in my own life. Me feeling good about what I'm doing. I get up and go to work. Me feeling good about, hey, when the year ends, when I look back and see what I did this year, does I feel like that matters to me? Like, and making sure I'm doing work that means something to me. And I guess I wanted to speak to one of the elements that gets cultivated inside of the men's group, and that's also going to be worked with in a more grand way inside of our retreats. But it starts with dignifying all as human beings, and dignifying each of us as the creator beings that we all are. And for us to begin to take responsibility for what it is we're creating in our own lives and what we're creating together here on the planet. To realize that we are a manifestation of the same source energy that created all of this. We have this great privilege, this great responsibility to do anything and what is it we want to do, and how is it that we can channel that like most pure, beautiful ability and vision to bring in what we do want to bring in. And a little thing I like to practice inside of my men's circles, is to kind of set the tone for a lot of listening. For us all, every man in the circle to be kind of tending to hosting the entire circle. So that when someone's speaking, we're all actively listening to what the person's saying and trying to pay attention even to what maybe the person is not saying. Like if they're touching on a subject and then skipping past it, but there seems to be something more there, like when there's the right pause or the right moment, can we ask a question? Use our curiosity to dig a little deeper there to see like if there's something else that wants to come out. Then as each man shares in the circle, somewhere later on in the timing of the evening, I like to speak to noticing like what common energies are coming into this circle. Every man shared from his heart, but what themes are coming through in the group tonight that without trying to, what's kind of present that's similar, that's passing through each person's story, like what energy is present in the circle tonight, and start to notice that energy as well as a type of other presence for the evening, another voice coming through, another lesson or learning coming through as we're all speaking as a collective learning. Hearing the theme of what we're kind of like what spirit doesn't want us to miss tonight, what spirit's moving through all of us and creating this evening. And in our retreat spaces, we work with collective group channeling to do the same thing, to both get in a place where we're channeling our higher selves, channeling our clearest message, where we're paying attention to every word we speak is almost like a well-chosen ingredient that we're adding to the mix, to the circle, and that we're listening to bring those messages through. We're listening to the messages of the others, and we're listening to the group message that's starting to come through, the collective energy that's starting to come through the entire circle. And this, I believe, is a new way for us to learn how to channel guidance as collectives here on the planet right now. Instead of going from this top-down authority, for all of us giving our power away to some authority outside of us, for us to tune into the inner clarity, the inner voice within us, to bring that through as strongly as we can, and to offer it out, to hold space for others to do the same, and then for us to listen to everyone's share. And through hearing everyone's share, we can hear maybe if all of us did our best to bring through our highest channeled voice, then collectively we have a very strong presence of channeled voices from a collective, that we should be hearing a general message, a theme starting to enter, starting to say something clear to us. And to understand that to be the closest truth that we could know in the moment is both how we were affected by everyone's share and by what the general tone was that came through from everyone. And I feel like this is an evolutionary curve for us as humans to start to learn how to access our own truth and power, how to start to hear the vibration of truth when it's coming through other people, and how to notice the bigger vibrational pattern of an energy that's a collective energy, that's one message or one theme moving through everyone. And each one of these gatherings or groups is kind of an opportunity to practice this, to work with this exercise, to learn how to dignify ourselves, how to dignify our own voice of truth within ourselves, and how to hold that vision for each other. Even if people in the circle have never done that for themselves, if there is a group of humans now holding that for you, it may help guide you into that space. And as we all start to listen, we don't have to give our power away to any one person to tell us what the truth is. We learn how to access our own truth and how to hear the truth of others. And in that bigger panel, we get our bigger scoop of wisdom coming through, knowing that the universe is trying to communicate and answer all of our questions as directly and clearly as possible in as many ways as possible. And all we have to do is pay attention to how those communications are coming through. I feel that's a practical direction for us to be moving in as humans right now, and it works even on the grander scale as we look out across the whole planet right now. After leaving one religion in my life and exploring many other spiritual traditions, I've started to notice like trends or truths that run through many of those traditions, and that's helped me to land and anchor in my own truth. And I kind of work with something that I call holistic spirituality, in that you can look at the spirituality of every culture, every religion, every historical culture back into time, and see their belief systems and hold them all together. And as we hold them all together in like pie slices all the way around, we get to see the common themes moving through them. We get to see that this is how humans have addressed their spirituality across time. That in itself is enlightening and speaking to a truth without any one of them needing to be the truth. They all speak their own information out to us. And I believe that begins to be a type of way for us to access truth, to pull it in a holistic way. And as we see a world that's polarizing so much with lefts and rights, different factions of one government or another, or one country over another, the more we can pan back and look at all of them together, we see a collective truth emerging. And the more we identify with a global unity, with a global consciousness mind, it's easier to see how all those things feed into a more collective, holistic truth, and to kind of hold our anchoring and our balance in that collective truth. I feel like there's, our world's going through a really big growing pain right now, and in a lot of ways our current systems and structures are at breaking points. And I don't think it's going to be necessarily a soft or simple or easy transition for us out of these. And I feel like there's a lot of work for us to do in ourselves and with each other to begin to understand the changes underway and to find our own spiritual anchoring as these things are happening. And I guess this is why I'm speaking to all of this today, like why I'm offering men's circles, why I'm doing retreats, why I feel passionate about hosting these things that I feel are changes that as we all go to work, we're not paying attention to what needs to be paid attention to. And I'm trying my best to create spaces where we can start to address these new ways of learning, new ways of working with each other, new ways of working with ourselves. I speak a lot about learning how to balance masculine and feminine energies within. And I know that that topic could use a lot of conversation to be understood or communicated clearly. But it's not about dissolving masculinity into femininity or dissolving femininity into masculinity, but it's those two polarizations of consciousness to learn how to interact, be receptive to communication with each other, and to learn how to work together, learn how to create together. I like to think of it as two different wisdoms anchored in two different sources of feminine wisdom and masculine wisdom, and that they don't compare with each other, or they don't that they're in a space where they don't need to add up in the logic of the other, that they each have their own wisdoms and their own polarities of where they draw from, and that it's more a matter of learning how to respect and honor those so that we can without having to completely comprehend or know what the other wisdom is, respect it for being that different wisdom, and be receptive of its wisdom to see how its wisdom can come in and be a part of the creation, an equal part of that creation as it folds in together, to be inviting both of those parts in. And I feel as we're learning how to be receptive to and communicate with both aspects of masculinity and femininity within ourselves, then it's easier to be ready to receive that from outside of us as well, from other humans, from any source that consciousness, creation is offering that to us from the outside. That if we're all opening our hearts to that seeking path, we're open to hearing corrections from the outside when we're off course. That if enough people or humans or other people are telling us like, hey, that's hurting us, that's not working out, that's okay, that like if we're on that seeking path of supporting life, then we'll be paying attention to that information, to those messages coming through. We'll be receptive to a masculine wisdom, a feminine wisdom that's coming through, that's there to help balance us back into harmonious creation. And that we all have our roles to play in different aspects that we're embodying. We may be very embodying one end of masculinity over here, or be embodying one end of femininity, wisdom over here, and that's perfectly fine. But more so, what I'm encouraging is for us to find more ways in our communication and cooperation and co-creation, from acknowledging both camps, acknowledging both wisdoms, and knowing that we need both of them for that healthy, beautiful creation. That too is an underlying principle in both the men's circles I do, the retreat spaces we hold as we start to deep dive into what those places look like within ourselves, connecting with the elementals to help connect with those deeper parts of ourselves. Get down to our own truth speaking. Now that opens us up to deeper connections with each other. That's my share for this evening. I want to thank everyone who takes the time to listen to these videos. I do my best to bring the information through as direct, as quick as I can, and from a place that's most true in my heart, that's not in a overly forced or scripted way. I try to speak from what's most present for me each day. So thank you for taking the time that it takes for me to access that and share it. I hope that it continues to be beneficial to many. So thank you. Have a beautiful evening. I honor the love and the life inside of each of you. Oh.